Do you ever feel like everyone's talking about Bitcoin, but nobody's explaining it clearly? I've got you covered. Do you want to sound like the smartest person in the room next time someone brings up Bitcoin? Here are 21 terms that you need to know. Bitcoin is a revolutionary technology, the world's best money, and a way to truly own your finances. But what exactly is Bitcoin, and how does it work? I'm going to walk you through the 21 essential terms you need to understand Bitcoin, the best money in the world. If you've ever felt lost in a maze of Bitcoin jargon, you're not alone. But here's the good news. By the end of this video, you'll understand Bitcoin's most essential terms like a pro. No fluff, just the facts that you need to master this game-changing technology. So let's start with the basics. Bitcoin is a digital currency created by the pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto. It's global, decentralized, and doesn't rely on banks or governments. Instead, it's powered by software that started recording transactions on January 3rd, 2009, and it hasn't stopped since. You've probably heard the buzzword blockchain before, but what does it actually mean? Think of it as a public, unchangeable record of every transaction ever made on the Bitcoin network. Imagine it as a chain of digital receipts, each one securely linked to the next, creating a history that's nearly impossible to alter. Every new entry on the blockchain is called a block. Each block is a package of transactions added to the blockchain, forming a chronological ledger, and a new block is created about every 10 minutes. So how are these blocks created? Through a process called Bitcoin mining. Mining is the process of adding new transactions to the blockchain and creating new Bitcoins. Miners use powerful computers that perform a cryptographic hash function, and in return, they earn Bitcoin. Not only does Bitcoin mining help add new transactions to the ledger, it also helps secure the network. You can think of Bitcoin as this big treasure chest that we all use, and Bitcoin mining forms an impenetrable energy shield around it, keeping everyone's funds safe from hackers. A node is any computer that's connected to the Bitcoin network. You can imagine nodes as digital referees in the game, verifying every transaction and keeping everyone honest with a copy. These nodes store the entire history of Bitcoin, starting from the Genesis block, January 3rd, 2009. There are hundreds of thousands of nodes worldwide, all working together to verify and back up the ledger. Proof of work is the system that keeps Bitcoin secure. It's like a competition where miners race to solve cryptographic puzzles. To add new blocks to the blockchain, miners compute cryptographic hash functions which require pure guesswork and a lot of electricity to perform. The discovery of the correct hash by these computers proves that they've done the physical work. This process protects the network from tampering, transforming real-world energy into organized computing power. The power of miners is measured by their hash rate. Basically, how many guesses their computers can make per second to solve the puzzle. The higher the hash rate on the network, the more secure the network is. And in terms of the machine, the higher the hash rate, the greater chance that your machine will make the right guess that leads to a block forming and getting the reward. If you own Bitcoin, then you've got a private key, which is like your personal password to access your Bitcoin. If someone steals your private key, they can steal your Bitcoin. So keep it safe and don't share it with anyone. When people want to take custody of their own Bitcoin offline, away from potential hackers, they use a signing device, also known as taking your money into cold storage. The point is that no internet-connected device should ever have your private key information, because if it did, then it's possible that an online hacker can steal your private key and steal your Bitcoin. Therefore, having an offline device that stores your private key and signs your Bitcoin transactions keeps your funds safe. No internet connection means that it's almost impossible for it to be stolen. Next is a seed phrase. This is like your master password that unlocks access to your Bitcoin. You'll see it as 12 or 24 random words, so write it down and protect it like your life savings depend on it, because they do. This is the seed that produces your public-private key pair. And because the private key comes from the seed phrase, it is equally as important to protect. In fact, most people are never really exposed to their actual private key. Rather, they record these 12 or 24 words on a piece of paper or stamped in metal. Keeping these words secure and secret is of the utmost importance to keeping your Bitcoin safe. Your Bitcoin address is like your public-facing account number. It's the string of letters and numbers that you share with others to receive Bitcoin. But don't worry, that doesn't reveal your private key. It's best to never reuse a Bitcoin address more than once for privacy purposes. XPUB stands for Extended Public Key. This is the public key that generates all of the children Bitcoin addresses. This is what you provide wallet software so that you can view your balance in an app. This leads us to the term Bitcoin wallet. A wallet software is an app that acts like a window into the Bitcoin blockchain to give you an overview of your Bitcoin balance and your transaction history. This is also the app that communicates with the network when you want to sign a transaction and broadcasts that transaction once it's been signed with your signing device. Hot wallets are Bitcoin wallets that are connected to the internet. These are less secure because your private key is saved on an app that is connected to the internet. These are easy to use but should only contain a small amount of Bitcoin, given their security risks. If you want more security, multi-signature custody requires multiple private keys to access your Bitcoin. It's like needing 2 keys to open a vault, making it extra secure for large balances. This is great for businesses or anybody storing large amounts of Bitcoin, and it greatly reduces the risk of physical theft of your Bitcoin. The Lightning Network is a second layer that makes Bitcoin transactions faster and cheaper instead of processing it on the main blockchain or the base layer. It handles transactions off-chain and settles them later. Typically, this comes in the form of an app on your phone and makes Bitcoin transactions incredibly simple, fast, and cheap. And it's like using the express checkout lane instead of standing in a long line. When you send Bitcoin, it waits in the mempool until the miners put it in a block. You can think of this as a waiting room for your transactions. To make sure that miners pick up your transaction faster, you can pay transaction fees. These transaction fees incentivize miners to process your transaction first if you set them higher. The higher the fee, the sooner the miners will process your transaction. And transaction fees contribute to the Bitcoin reward that miners receive for their services. Every 4 years, Bitcoin experiences a halving, where the reward for miners is cut in half. This process creates scarcity and is a reason that Bitcoin is often compared to gold. In 2009, each block rewarded a miner 50 new Bitcoin per block. 4 years later, that block reward was reduced to 25 Bitcoin. And today, that reward is at 3.125 Bitcoin until the year 2028. Halvings are going to continue until the year 2140, where no new Bitcoin will be created. A Bitcoin exchange is a platform where you can buy or sell Bitcoin. Here, people will exchange fiat currency, like dollars, for Bitcoin. And finally, we have sats, which is short for satoshis. They're the smallest unit of Bitcoin. Just like a dollar has cents, a Bitcoin has satoshis. And 1 Bitcoin equals 100 million sats. Now you're ready to speak the language of Bitcoin. From nodes to sats, you've got the knowledge to navigate this revolutionary world. So which term was new to you? Drop it in the comments and let's see how far you've come.